Welcome to Politics for Thinkers.
Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Jennifer Barreto Leiva, and I'm so happy to be here with you another week. First of all, I would like to thank every single person that was kind enough to see my editorial of last week, the open letter I did for Spencer Pratt. Um, in spite of their actual numbers, I still have hopes for California. I want to believe the numbers are going to change. Still is very, very, very sad how, in some way, we all have a suspicion that the election has been rigged. But that tells a lot about the corruption we still have to fight in the United States in so many levels. So thank you for the new followers. Thank you for the good comments, and I hope you stay with us for a long, long, long time. The show of this week is going to be different. Yes, I have a guest, but in this particular case, you only want to see me on screen. Why? The person that I've interviewed request ask me to remain anonymous because the person that I'm going to interview this week is afraid of retaliation. And I understand because I experienced it myself. Um, but as a journalist, my due is to try to protect and not expose someone who is afraid for the personal security. This week, I'm going to talk with the founder of the platform called He Cheated. He Cheated is a platform that is dedicated to recollect all the data and have some kind of archive and register every time a man is on women's sports. This is having a very serious consequences, and we will find out today what inspired the person behind He Cheated. What can we do to support this platform in case you are interested? And we're going to understand how serious this is. According to United Nations, which is not exactly an authority because they have lost credibility, we have find out through the time, they have been dishonest. But this is very important. According to United Nations, at least 600 female athletes has been uh, replaced by men with a custom of women. It is what it is. I'm sorry if I'm too harsh, but it is what it is. They have still around 900 medals in 20 different sports worldwide. Interesting enough because they have been enablers of this problem we have right now. Men with a costume as a woman pretending to be us and pretending that we remain in silence is not going to happen. This topic has me really fed up and is one of the first thing, if not the first, that I've mentioned to my guests of today. I'm going to share with you during the show something that happened to me back in April 2023 related to this. This platform was founded in January 2024 and it was launched in April 2024. They have tracked around 1,000 athletes and they have documented 20,000 points. It's quite interesting. You will find the link of this platform in the info box. Anyways, I'm going to share it in all my social media. The site is hecheated.org. This site works with another one called shewon.org. And hecheated.org Volunteer is entirely volunteer effort and largely inspired by shewon.org, which is ever evolving, growing database on female athletes who have lost medals, podium spots, records, awards, and other athletic accomplishments and opportunities due to male participation in the female athletic division. While SheWon.org seeks to give these women and girls the recognition they deserve, HeCheated.org seeks to call out these male athletes and expose the damage they have each caused to women and girls in sports. The creation of Hishida.org was necessary in addition to SheWon.org, as there are many cases in which it is impossible to know who may have won a competition or an award had a male athlete not have been present. Such cases include all team sports, single elimination tournaments, and most awards. This platform is very complete, and I have to salute and congratulate the person who is behind this. I'm guessing it's a woman. I'm not quite sure, but uh, we are very fed up of this issue. The person behind He Cheated has, with all detail, register this whole issue worldwide. And the impressive thing is, this person is doing it all by itself. No help, no money, only um, tracking the news, thanks to the internet, of course. One of the first things I've asked to the person behind He Cheated, how do you came up with the idea to create this platform? And the person told me around 2021, 2022, I first became aware of what was going on in women's sports. It was around the time that Leah Thomas, frustrated not only by what's happening, but also by how politicians denied it was happening, despite the almost daily website was so relieved that someone was keeping track of the women and girls who has lost medals to male athletes. I was blown away by the number of entries they had on that list. I noticed, though, that She Won was limited in their scope for reasons that make sense as far as their goals with the site. They didn't look at the team sports, didn't track awards of records, only look at large competition and top three places, etc. And I thought there was so much more that could be recorded. I also thought keeping track of every performance of the male athletes would help provide concrete data and numbers on this, something that we have been sorely needing. Initially, I had emailed suggestions into She One, but I realized that is an unbelievable amount of work, and it wasn't fair for me to expect something else who was volunteering their free time and who likely had family and work and other obligations to do what I personally wanted to see done. So I took up it upon myself instead, and here we are. One of the things that I found curious about this is how is always men trying to be on women's bases. But so far, I haven't heard women trying to be on men's bases. The type of man that is trying to be on women's bases has two, let's say, two different personalities. One of them are predators, which is the majority, and the other type of men that are trying to be on women's sports and women's spaces are weak men with this beta energy that I hate. And trust me, if you know me, you know that I never use the word hate. It's a way strong sentiment, way strong word, but I hate it. I'm fed up. I'm tired of dealing with this. I'm tired of hearing that women are in danger, that girls are in danger, that predators came into our spaces to hurt us. And God forbid, I'm not a feminist. If you know me, you know that I'm not a feminist. And this is not about feminist, not feminist, Republican, Democrat, liberal, whatever. This is, again, common sense. This is what I'm trying to have as a message at the end of every show. Common sense. Yes, I have a very strong point of view, a very strong mindset. But when it comes to common sense, I forget about everything else. For me, that's the most important thing. And the data is telling us there is a problem that many people still don't want to acknowledge. So, hello, no one is noticing that we are fed up and there is a problem, and still we haven't solved it 100%. Thanks to this administration, we have a tremendous backup, and we don't have that much pressure over our shoulders. But yet, there is a lot to do. Yet, there are men in our spaces. Actually, someone that was aspiring for as a mayor, I think, for Los Angeles, had this idea because she was in the locker room in a gym, and a man with all his genitalia exposed get into the bathroom, claiming he was a woman. Hello? There is a problem. And it's like the pink elephant for some people, and they don't want to acknowledge that we still have something to do, and we still have this issue bothering us. They are on every single one of our spaces, and it's never the other way around. I ask every time, and it's never the other way around. And I want to be very clear with this. I will never dehumanize people no matter how they think. That's not my nature. I always spend time with the people I am talking about. For many years, I spent time because I wanted to understand what it was living with gender dysphoria. How is the life of someone with gender dysphoria? How is the life of someone who is homosexual? It's a world that I don't understand because it's not my world. And I want to understand how they think, what they went through, what are their realities, to, have some empathy or trying to understand why our worlds collide that much. And it's extremely difficult. Living with gender dysphoria is extremely difficult, and is a mental condition that never goes away. You can help yourself going to therapy. You can help yourself getting medication from your doctor if you're going to a psychiatrist. Uh, it can help that if you're Christian, going to church and speak with your pastor, your father. There are many tools that you can use to help yourself and make your life easier. But it's not easy. Yet, I'm sorry, but forever you're going to be a man and you don't belong to my space. They claim this is hate. They claim this is discrimination. It's not. It's not. If you want to participate in sports, create your own category. You cannot, never, you cannot replace a woman. You were not born as a woman. This is not hate. I promise you, it's not hate. It's common sense. It's like I one day post a photo of me in social media and say, you know what? I'm skinny and I'm blonde. My eyes are blue. And if you say the opposite, you're hating me. I'm not. I'm fat. I'm tall, 5'11". I'm white, but yet my hair is black. My eyes are brown. It is what it is. And it's not hate to hear what I'm telling myself. We need to bring back common sense. This cannot keep up. And I salute and applaud and I have very proud of people like the founder of this platform. They are doing something. The amount of people complaining and doing nothing is larger than we think. This is a problem that is affecting all of us. We need to do something about it. And if this is the best she can do, go for it. If sharing the content that the person founder of this platform or the content that I'm doing is all you can do, go for it. But never remain in silence. Silence is complicity. At the end of the day, silence is complicity. Silence gives a very painful message that you're okay with that. That's not okay. We need to change this. I asked the founder of He Cheated what is the process for collecting the data and their archives. And this person tells me data collection is an incredible tedious process. First, it involves finding males who have participated in female competitions. I start out combining the internet for articles and stories that have been widely reported on. There has been no shortage of this. News reports, human interest stories, lawsuits, etc. Next, I find as many women competition the athlete has been in an possible. Depending on the sport, this is more or less difficult. Through this process, I usually end up finding more male athletes. At some of my research for competition results involves looking through photos from tournaments and team rosters. When I find out an article on one male winning an MVP award, for example, there might be mention of yet another talking the runner-up honor. I also receive quite a few tips from the community. I do verify what every athlete is male before I include them on the website. In most cases, they are open about being trans, but in some, it involves quite a bit of research. I often get criticism saying, you could only find X number. It's not what I've conducted the research, and this is the end product. It's an ongoing, never ending process, and I'm finding out about more athletes and more competition almost daily. I always have a backlog of hundreds of entries that need to be added and athletes who I know about but who I haven't had time to investigate yet as far as finding competitions they have been in and say I'm actually caught up. Any numbers on months, sorry, any numbers on the side you see today will be drastically different in 6 months. When I started the site, I knew about 50 boys and men in women's sports. Now I know over 1,000. I record every competition male athlete participates in, whether he finishes in first or last place. I also record all levels of sport from middle school to professionals to masters and smaller local competition as well as world championships. And the Olympics, I think, and the Olympics. I think all of this can provide valuable data. The more through the picture, the better. I've added filters to the data on the site so that anyone looking for a specific set of data, professional volleyball players only, for example, should be able to find that easily and can ignore the disc golf entries if it's not what they're interested in. Personally, I believe Women in every sport, at every age, at every level deserve the same fairness and opportunity in sports that their male counterparts have. I asked the founder of He Cheated, are you open to documenting what is happening in other areas such as politics or journalism? The person said, that's something I would love to do, but to be honest, I'm so incredibly busy right now. That is just not a possibility for me. I know there are other people and organizations who have been tracking the impact in other areas. There's Trans Crime UK, Women Are Real Canada, and Not Our Crimes site, sponsored by WDI from the United States, all tracking males who are claiming to be women in the prison population. So I think those are great resources. If people want other areas documented, the best action, oops, oops, the best action they can take is to start documenting themselves. We can no longer rely on organization or politicians to help us in this. Can't agree more. I started with a blank Excel spreadsheet and a list of names, and it's grown into something that can now possibly make an impact on research and policy. The work of this person is impeccable. You need to check out the website hecheated.org. You will find a very detailed and extensive data about this worldwide. I asked the founder of He Cheated, do you fear any type of retaliation or violence against you? Is that why you keep your identity anonymous? The person said yes. I receive a bit of hate mail and have gotten targeted threats saying, if I find out who you are, I'm going to kill you. Always the love is love. Um, love is love. They say all the time, and this is the love is love they actually share. This is their reality, unfortunately. This person continues saying, I take this seriously, even if they may just be from confused kids messing around. I never wanted any sort of credit or fame from this. I just want to see policy change so that women and girls have fair sports. For every threatening message through I receive so many from parents, female athletes, and just member of the community thanking me for what I've been doing and telling me stories. So it's absolutely worth it. I can tell from parents that I've been talking to, it has been really difficult to have them on the show because they are afraid of the consequences, as this person is. The parents community nationwide is terrified to speak their minds because they know this can result on a terrible ending. They get death threats and they get a lot of hate and a lot of violence. So they have to somehow remain in silence. Others decide to speak up, but it's very difficult. And I'm not a mother. I don't have kids, but I understand. When you're a parent, your world revolves in a different way. So you need to be extra careful of what you do and what you say because that can have repercussion over your kids, not only you. I asked the founder of He Cheated, do you think this issue is just a trend or is part of a larger agenda being pushed? The founder of He Cheated said, it's a bit difficult to classify this either. And I think the entire issue of trans ideology is a complex topic in which there are several different things going on at once. They have been thrown under one umbrella, which at surface level appear to be the same issue, but when you look deeper, are almost entirely unrelated. I think the recent explosion of trans identification in teens is definitely a trend. It offers a social group and identity for kids who struggle in that area. We can directly observe this in that the number of trans identified boys participating in girls' sports sports exploded around 2021 and 2022. I'd like people to understand, though, that boys and girls sports is not a new issue and that my focus isn't actually on trans at all. It's about male athletes. It's about male athletes. Although the trans issue has brought this public attention, boys have participated in girls' sports since 1970s, and adult men have done so even longer. There have been hundreds and hundreds of boys who have been allowed to join girls' sports teams who do not identify as trans, but you just want but just want to play a sport that may not offer for boys at their school. Arguments in favor of these boys have been identical to those who used for trans identified boys, and the opposition to it has been the same. Girls have been Girls have lost championship titles. They have been injured. They've been replaced on their own teams. Males with DSDs have won Olympic medals, and women have been fighting for sex testing for decades. So I do think the overall issue of males in women's sports is part of a larger issue in which women athletics are viewed as less important than men's, and in which female athletes are expected to accuse to the feelings of boys and men's. I asked the founder of Ichired, some men in women's spaces seems like ancient history some days. What are your thoughts on this? And the person says, I get reports of more male athletes on girls' teams every week. Men who are in prison for raping and murdering women are still being housed in women's prisons. In Australia, a recent ruling was made against a woman who simply wanted to operate a women's only application. Men in the UK are publicly declaring how they're going to disregard laws and continue using women's spaces anyways. We have men and women running for office declaring how great they think it is for boys to be included in girls' sports. The media still continue to refer adult men as women, and headlines continue to talk about trans athletes when the issue is males. I think we're far from Asian history at the moment, but I do think things are getting better little by little. Progress is being made. I asked the founder of Hichired, how can we help with the platform? How can we contribute? This person answered me, I will always love to get some of that billionaire funding. I'm always happy accused of having. I'm always accused of having. But joking aside, I would appreciate the publicity so that more people are aware that this site exists. I think so many athletes and their families feel helpless now. They are afraid to speak out because of the repercussions it might have for their jobs, their athletic careers, and reputations. It helps to know someone is tracking this and that if the concerns they raise to the principal or the athletic director or competition organizers are brushed aside or ignored. There are people who do care, and their experience is not for nothing. Women who might have been suspicious but too afraid to raise concerns can also check for validation and vindication. Yes, the individual who beat me was actually a man, and the first place medal that should have been mine went to the wrong person. Many organizations only allow participants to make complaints, and in order to do that, women need to know they are correct to complain in the first place. It's also important that the public knows what has been going on. So many people truly have no idea of the extent of this. I've been just heard from someone who thought males had taken a couple dozens awards. When you find out they have been in over 19,500 competitions, almost 20,000 competition, and have been taking over 950 top three medals at world and national championships, world and national championships, and currently hold at least 20 world records that change things. This was the kind of conversation I had with the founder of He Cheated. I find out around 2021. You need to check if it's still there. I'm not quite sure, but I make sure to screenshot what I was watching. In the American Museum website for women, the American History Women Museum, there was the biography of three men that they claims to be women were being erased from every single place out there. And I personally believe this is a very clear agenda. Not only dehumanize us, but also replace us, erase every single woman from any conversation, any topic, any issue. And some days I am hopeless. I have to be honest. Some days I'm hopeless. And some days I think we will not make it and we will lose our rights. Again, I'm not a feminist, but I do understand what is going on. I do understand they are getting the goal of replace us and remove us from every topic. These numbers this person offers are the same or maybe double. If you find out politics in the media, as this person said, the fact that some media outlets, are referring a man as a woman and replacing us is concerning and disgusting. They know what they're doing. They know how serious this is. Back on April 2023, I had a very, very nasty experience that shocked me to the core. Um, I wake up April 2023. We had this pandemic hysteria all over the place. People were locked in their homes in every country. And I wake up, I drink my coffee like every morning, and I took my phone and started to check Twitter. I found out in the hot topics of the day, the acronym TERF was hot almost worldwide. TERF, for those who doesn't know, is a term used by feminists. And this term means that you are a nasty feminist because you don't let transgender being part of their fights, their job. Now, back in the day, maybe they fight for our rights, but right now they are fighting to disappear men from every conversation. It's the same story that we're facing, but the other way around. So every time I see or hear this acronym TERF, I know I have to look around. I've been told I'm a TERF and I'm an ugly person a gazillion times for not allowing men dress as women. I don't care if you're trans or you are beginning your transition. I don't care. You don't belong to my world as a woman. And again, this is not hate. I'm saying this with all the respect in my soul. I understand how difficult it is the world of a person with gender dysphoria, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be uh, so flexible. Let's say I'm going to accept they are in my world, using my rights, using my space, and pretending to be my voice. It's not going to happen. In front of me, it's not going to happen. So Every time I hear the acronym TERF, I, I run to read the comments to read what is going on. It happens that a person who claims to be binary, again, the progressive agenda that doesn't work, this person took the time to recollect, and in every single platform, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, the populars and the not so popular ones, recollect the data of those who were fighting against men being on women's spaces. This person has created a list of about 2,000. I think so. It was a very large list, very large list. And it was about pretty much conservative voices, the most important conservative voices who were fighting against this for the safety of women on not only sport, in politics, in every topic. And for my surprise, they named me. I'm going to show you the number they gave me, and I'm going to try to explain what I felt that day. They gave me this number. They posted as much as details they could find out of every single person. Um, they call us Nazi. They call us every ugly name on the dictionary. Um, at the beginning, I was shocked. I was called before racist and homophobic, etc. You know how they work. You know how they try to break you emotionally, spiritually. And the first time I was called racist, and so I it was extremely shocking for me. I've never have been called racist or anything like that. Um, and I've prayed because I understand at that moment that this was a spiritual fight. You like it or not, it is a spiritual fight. And after a couple of days, I felt better and keep going with my work. But back at this moment where I was called a Nazi in a transphobe for not agreeing with men on women's sports and women's places, I was very shocked. And please don't mistake this because it's not the goal. But I understand how Jewish people felt back in the day with the number on this horrible moment in history they went through. I feel somehow the repercussions of this. Back in the day, when this whole thing happened, Twitter was still on hands of the previous owner, and the social media was extremely compromised. The censorship was on. Um, I particularly didn't have hopes for us when it comes to freedom of speech, and I thought, okay, so now there is a list where all of us are framed with our data and exposed as monsters, pretty much. So, what's next? What is the next thing that will happen? And I have to say, with all honesty, that I was kind of hopeless back in the moment because none of us thought that Elon Musk came and buy Twitter and gave us a little bit of freedom of speech. I am in Venezuela. I've lived all my life here, and half of my life have been under this regime that is still alive and kicking. I know what the lack of freedom of speech means and how serious are the consequences of going against the status quo. So I was mortified, to say the least, of the repercussions of this list. The saddest thing is that I knocked the door of my colleagues. They claim to be, many of them claim to be brave and strong and vocal when it comes to these kind of situations, and none of them report in their shows what happened to me. I was the only one included. They picked the wrong person to do this kind of thing. I took it as a badge of honor because it is what it is. In the future, I can tell everyone, you know what? I fight for our rights and I fight for our safety. And this is what happened to me. But it was sad. It was shocking. I was very disappointed of the response I had from many people I used to admire. The last thing I would like to say is I have major respect for people like the founder of Ichire. Please support this kind of people that is doing this amazing job. You can find again, you can find it in the info box of the show, the website hecheated.org. Anything you need to know about sports, you can find it there. If you want to help the person behind this with data, please go for it. The message that I would like to send, the final message, please don't remain in silence. This is way too serious. I understand because I went through that. It can be scary to talk for the first time because you know how many consequences we will have if we speak and be brave enough to say what is going on. But I think it's very important that we understand that bigger issues will await for us in the future if we don't talk today. The consequences of remaining in silence as women with this issue are going to be really serious and really deep. We are watching it. So, final word, don't remain in silence. Silence is complicity. Please talk. And if you would like to send me any report about this, I take the responsibility and read it. And I will preserve your identity. It's extremely important that you, every single one of you, understand that I will protect your identity. But we cannot remain in silence. Right now are happening so many things for not speaking at time. Ireland is in my prayers. They're going through a very difficult moment. And this is the consequence of not speaking on time. You have all my heart, all my love, and all my prayers. So, being said this, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for being with me today. Remember to follow all our social media. You can find us everywhere as Politics for Thinkers. We are in every platform, in every social media. And also our website, politicsforthinkers.com. You can find everything you need to know about me, about the show, how to reach me, and our weekly editorials, our platforms, everything you need to know about us and you need to understand about us is there. So for now, thank you so much for being with me today. It was a very interesting show. Thank you for tuning us every week, for the nice comments and for the kind words towards our work. See you in 7 days, God willing. God bless us. Bye bye.
Thank you for watching Politics for Thinkers.